Ow, we have knocked out game number 2 of the big RPG fest of January and February.
We have. Aren't
Somehow
we
we got through
impressive?
it. Somehow we did it.
We have persevered.
We indeed have persevered, yes. Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Season Line with Checkup OVA. It's a podcast where we have conversations about video games, anime, and manga. Hello, I'm Jared, joined as always by Doc Al and Lady
Hello.
This is episode 375, and nearly 300 episodes ago,
Wow, really?
we talked about a little game called Persona 3 on episode 82
It's been so long.
that came out in July of 2018.
We were
We
babies.
were indeed babs.
We were babs.
Yeah, we had just did a playthrough of Fez,
Yes, which is where my Armageddon video is on my Instagram.
and that was our impetus to talk about that game finally. And 300 episodes later, nearly like 5.5 years later, we get to talk about a remake of Persona 3, which is still a wild thing to think about.
It is still wild to think about.
Mm-hmm. Yes. This game came out on February the 2nd of 2024. Just 2 years shy of the 20th anniversary of Persona 3.
Oh my God, that makes me feel like I'm gonna fall apart into dust.
Yep.
God.
It's very, it makes you feel very old.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, we won't really dive into like the story bits of this because we've done a podcast on that already. You can go listen to that if you want to hear the story of Persona 3. We're gonna like just dive into mostly kind of like what they did for the remake, the new things for it, and all that sort of stuff. Our reactions to that, like how they've improved upon the game or whatever you want to say, change things. We'll dive into all that. So like this isn't going to be like a big long episode for sure. But, we really wanted to talk about this game because Persona 3 is good.
Still one of my favorite video games of all time.
Unsurprising.
And this version is probably the definitive version of the game to play now.
Yeah.
The only negatives are obviously there is no FMC route, which because I wanted to date Akihiko. And then the answer, which we may or may not get.
Yeah.
But my hope is if we do end up getting the answer that they have vastly improved it so it's not a miserable experience to play.
That is also what I would hope for.
Because it can kind of suck to play that game.
Yeah.
Or that part of the game.
Oofa doofa. But anyways,
Doofa.
let's talk about the development of this here video game.
Please, let's talk about it.
Atlas had begun development of a remake of Persona 3 by 2019. The large majority of P Studio staff working on Persona 5 Royal at this time were shifted over to Reload, with the studio's chief director, Kazuhisa Wada, exclaiming that developing Persona 3 Reload was hugely important for Atlas due to the original game's influence on the rest of the Persona series, as well as the unique challenges presented with both remaking an existing title and developing a game on a third-party game engine, as the game is powered by Unreal Engine 4, as opposed to the proprietary engine Atlas previously used for games such as Royal and Catherine Full Body. The Reload naming was conceived as a result of the developers wanting to use another moniker with the letter R to convey its status as a definitive edition of Persona 3, as Persona 5 Royal was to Persona 5, feeling as if simply calling it Persona 3 Remake was not fitting for the naming conventions of the series. The Reload name was also used to reflect the pistol-like evokers used by the party to summon their personas during battle. It's like a gun.
That's what I thought it was, but I guess the other parts make sense too.
Following the game's official reveal, Atlas shared several additional details about Reload. P Studio Chief Director Kazuhisa Wada and game producer Ryota Nititsuma clarified their intentions of producing a completely faithful recreation of the original Persona 3 experience, including implementing multiple new scenes and events beyond the retained narrative. However, the pair confirmed that as a result of remaining solely faithful to the game as it was originally released, none of the story content integrated into either Persona 3 Fez or Persona 3 Portable would be remade for Reload, such as the epilogue chapter, the answer of the second female protagonist, and her associated content, even though there are rumors, like we said earlier, that That might not necessarily be true.
Right.
Wada clarified following this interview, however, that other story and gameplay elements first added to the main story scenario in Fez would still feature in the game. During a separate interview,
Elizabeth dates.
yes. During a separate interview published in Weekly Famitsu, Wada, Nidasuma, and game director Takuya Yamaguchi also expressed enthusiasm towards introducing alterations to the existing game's controls and map design, highlighting that the game's main dungeon, Tartarus, would undergo a physical or particularly large change in structure from the original game to the increase in environmental density, there we go, as well as interactive features and landscapes within existing areas. I don't necessarily think Tartarus really went under a huge change. Like, it's visually
No.
very different, but it's
I mean, yes and no. Like it still has the same feel of a lot of the floors.
it does, but like, I mean, it looks very different from how it did originally in terms of just like
yes.
the scope and everything.
Yes, absolutely. That part is different.
Like, the main thing that, like, Tartarus is still Tartarus. That's the key thing to take away from this. Like, the only thing they really change is like the new chests that are in there, and then like the monad doors, which is just like some mini bosses you get to fight within Tartarus.
They basically like changed how the monad system works, and that the monad previously were doors that like appeared on the first floor, like where the clock is and all that stuff, and was like places where you could go level up. But now it's that, but like dispersed within Tartarus.
Yeah. They also discussed the intent and overall importance behind producing Persona 3 Reload at this time, asserting that while they didn't want to change the plot or characters that formed the original game's foundation, they were keen on players being able to enjoy Persona 3 at a functional and graphical fidelity equivalent to recent entries in the series such as Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal, which was a stance they assumed at the start of development, which I think they did.
Yeah, no, they did.
Yamaguchi elaborated on the effort it took to remake all the game's original environments and artwork, exemplifying that the field had not just been expanded to be more proportionate with characters populating the playable areas, but also to increase the density of game elements and scenery. Yamaguchi further discussed the addition of new scenarios beyond reproducing the original game's narrative, feeling it fitting the game's nature as an ensemble drama, so they may explore characters who weren't as prominent in the original game.
Yes. Give me that. Give me that content. Love it.
In August 2023, a further Famitsu interview was conducted between Wada, Nidasuma, and Yamaguchi and composer Atsushi Kitajo. They elaborated on the development process of remaking the game's assets, stating that the character models from Persona 3 Dancing and Moonlight, which marked the first time many Persona 3 elements were rendered in high def, were used as a base for corresponding models in Reload, which makes a lot of sense. However, the Reload assets were otherwise produced from scratch with various adjustments, such as Aigis having her proportions altered to emphasize her unique physical traits as a cybernetic being compared to the regular human characters. Yamaguchi spoke on elements of the game shown in the game's second trailer, confirming that party members Koromaru and Shinjiro would have dedicated side stories outside the main narrative in Reload, with the former side story focusing on expanding Koromaru's backstory, while Shinji's content would highlight his charm amongst the party members. The developers also confirmed that the Aeon social link with Aigis from Persona 3 Fez would be retained in the game. By this time, Persona 3 Reload had entered its final stages of development.
I remember like the leak of the like Yukari special move.
Yes.
Where people are like, there's no way this is real, right? There's no way this is real.
That was the first real indication of like, hey, this is a thing that's actually happening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was real.
Yeah, it's just her special move.
It's her special move. Yeah, that's what it is. I just remember seeing like a really bad quality video of it, and everybody's like, there's no way this is real, but it definitely was, and I was so excited.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they did all the new art and stuff. The performance has been increased from the previous 30 frames per second to up to 60 and up to 4K resolution. I will say I played this via Game Pass, so I had the Xbox One version of this game, and it did get a little funky in terms of performance at the higher level of Tartarus, the highest level of Tartarus, because
did it?
Like playing the game, it was fine, but like when it would get into cutscenes, it would get kind of like chunky, which was weird. There's a whole bunch more voiced stuff in this game. Like all the social links are voiced now compared to the other versions of this game. There's more dialogue in Tartarus. There's more dialogue in like just other cutscenes and the newer cutscenes as well, which
Hmm.
is really cool. Um, the Japanese voice cast was all reprised, except for I guess the dude who did Koromaru's voice actor.
Oh,
And then the English voice cast was completely recast, except
it's
for
for Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. Um,
Mhm. Which I was initially like, oh, that sucks. But like the cast, the new cast for this absolutely like nailed it.
they do a great
They
job.
did such a good job. And like there's still like a lot of good nods towards the original cast, and a lot of the original cast is still in there in different roles. And I was like, that's really cool actually. But they just did such a good job. Like, holy moly, the cast did a good job.
Yeah, I think like you said, like hearing it for the first time was kind of just like this is very different. Some of it like was very like some of it was similar. Like I think Akihiko was the one everyone was kind of like this is the one that's very different. But
Right.
by the time you get through the game and everything, it's like you don't even really think like oh this is really that much different. Like it's just this is just who this
No.
character is.
Yeah.
And
No, it's great.
yeah, and I like I said, I think they all do a really good job in terms of just like bringing these characters to a new and different kind of light. Um, but also retaining the the flair that the original versions of these characters had.
Hmm.
So I am very happy with this new cast and everything. And like you said, I think it was really cool that they got most of the original cast as well to come back for like little minor roles here and there. So like they're also involved in this.
That made me happy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I think that they did a good job of balancing like sounding like the characters and what we're used to, but not sounding like they're just like doing an impression, basically.
Right.
Like they really felt like, yeah, this is the character that they're voicing. Like that's them. Like, oh shoot, I'm forgetting his last name, but his first name is Zeno. Junpei's voice actor is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Good Lord, did he kill it?
Yeah.
Good for him, honestly.
For real.
Like, I love Junpei already, but like this version of Junpei is like beautiful work of art. Fantastic. No notes. No notes.
No notes.
No notes.
So yeah, this game on the Metacritic currently at a 89 out of 100 on PC, 88 out of 100 on PS5, and 87 out of 100 on Xbox. And it would go on to sell in its first week of release 1 million units. It is the fastest selling game in Alice's history. Take that, Persona 5.
Take that, Persona 5. A good game is here now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh man,
And
yeah.
especially because like they took out a lot of the problematic stuff. Yay!
They did indeed take out some problematic stuff. You're right.
Big fan of that.
But yeah, this is Persona 3. I think, like you said at the beginning, this is the definitive way to play Persona 3 from now on because it plays so much better. It looks so much better, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to play this game. And I think they did a really good job of like remaking this. Like one of the first times you're kind of just like walking through like the school, I was kind of just like, man, this is crazy to see this school in this way because like you didn't really get to see kind of like the scope and like just the feel of the school, and like obviously you don't get to see it in portable because that's just not how that
Hmm.
game runs. But
Right.
even like original Persona 3, it's like there's like fixed cameras and everything, so like you don't really get to see kind of like everything that you would want essentially.
Right.
So this is the first time you really get to kind of just like be really immersed in this like kind of in this world essentially.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean it's incredible. It's so beautiful. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it's so stylish. The menus are just chef's kiss. Like even if you go to like the system config menu type thing, like it's really, really pretty. There's like this whole system where like the pro tag is like floating down on numbers. And I'm like, what is this? Why is this so pretty? You're a config menu. Stop going so hard. But also don't because I love it. Um, it's also worth mentioning that like the entire soundtrack was basically redone.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we talked about that. No, we haven't talked about that.
I know there are people who are not happy with it, but like I think it's fine. I think
I loved it.
I think people are just weirded out because you can actually understand the lyrics now. They're more
Hmm.
enunciated.
Yes, they are. They're very much more enunciated, which is another thing is like the man, if you go back and play Persona 3, like any version of it, like the mic qualities were not as great back then.
No.
So like it sounds weird to listen to it now, but like it sounds crisp and fresh now.
Hmm.
But same thing with here, like the enunciations are so much better. And like with the Irotodai dorm theme, like Lotus Juice took over doing the rap parts because the original was just like a sample that they got from a CD. So like it makes more sense for Lotus Juice to take that part.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, like people are acting like the new mass destruction is a war crime and like it's fine. It sounds great.
Yeah.
The whole thing sounds great. I love all the new songs. The new battle theme
It's,
goes so hard.
it's real fun.
Real fun. The new opening, super good. I was worried initially when like we had a new singer. I was like, okay, Memories of You. How's it gonna go? Still incredible. Still made me like cry like a dang baby. Like they did a really, really good job with the soundtrack. I was super happy with it.
Hmm.
I have no complaints whatsoever.
Yeah. I agree with you as well on that.
Yay.
They've improved the gameplay. I think we kind of mentioned this earlier, but you don't have to worry about AI, which is
Yay.
nice.
You can choose to worry about AI if you want to,
You
but
can, but like,
why would you?
nah. Um, there's more ways you can do damage in battles now. Like there is the theurgy yep.
The theology? Theology?
Yeah, that word. The special attacks. That's just what I call them because I'm just
What does that
dumb.
even mean? I call it special
I'm
attack too.
dumb. I don't know. But yeah, everyone gets like these little special attacks that you can use once you fill up a little bar and everything, and they will do like big damage on your opponents. Mostly they'll be dependent on like what character's affinity, like their skill affinity is. So like if it's Yukari, it's like here you're gonna do wind damage. If it's Mitsuru, you're gonna do ice damage, that sort of thing. And then like they'll just go through any like enemy resistances, which is very nice. Love to see
Hmm.
it. So I thought that was really nice. I think the shift system is really good, where it's basically
Love
it's the
shift.
baton system from Persona 5. Um,
Hmm.
and basically like if you hit a weakness, you can like immediately pass it on to another character who has another weakness for maybe another enemy or something, and you just keep the ball rolling, which is very nice. Uh,
Yes.
they there's new art for all the all out attack stuff, which is fun.
So good.
Koromaru just goes
And
woof woof woof.
woof woof woof.
Uh,
Yeah, we've got like done and dusted. Um, it's on to the next bout. Woof woof woof. That's the game is Junpei's. But yeah, they're all based on like their personalities and like their actual persona abilities and how it builds up. Also, theurgy means spiritual magic that could reach the gods in Greek.
Nahone.
I Googled.
Thanks, Google.
Thanks, Google.
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 Uh,
Anyway, that's what that means.
well, yes, thank you. They revamped the shuffle time mechanic. It's no longer you just like watching them go spinning in a circle in front of you.
Hmm.
You have basically, it's like, all right, here's the cards you can pick from whatever, but also they incorporate like the major arcana cards in there, which will give you like a specific thing, like yeah,
Bonuses.
specific bonuses, and like once you collect enough of those, they'll basically upgrade all of the other cards
Hmm.
one step. So they'll go from like if they're just level 1 cards, they'll go up to level 2, and then you'll have those all at your disposal, which is very nice. um I like that rather than having to like just blindly pick, and
Yes.
hopefully I
Same.
get the one I want on the spin.
Yeah, I also liked it quite a lot better.
It's very
Um,
nice.
we also have the new battle uniforms.
I thought those were fun.
They were a lot of fun. They're goofy in points. I'm like, I'm fine with that.
Hmm.
Um, Akihiko has a fanny pack. on his butt. He's very much like Yuri from Shadow Hearts. Um, but yeah, it's I like the battle uniforms and I love the cutscene of them walking into Tartarus with the
That's
battle
very
uniforms.
good. Yes.
It's so funny.
Really
I
enjoyed that.
loved it. The slow walk and like the camera spinning around them was like, oh, this rules.
Oh
Which I
man.
guess is another thing we should mention is that they redid all the animated cutscenes.
Yeah, I mean they if you were thinking if
Had to.
yeah, we mentioned this when we were talking about it when we were playing, but like there's still anime cutscenes in this game, but like honestly,
Should have
the
just
in-game
stuck
animated
to the end
cutscenes are
game.
better looking than the anime cutscenes in this game, which is wild to think about.
Yeah, they should have just stuck to the in-engine cutscenes.
I mean, I get why because like obviously that was a thing in OG Persona 3 and like that was kind of like one
Yeah,
of the big
yeah.
sticking points of like why this game kind of stood out, but yeah, those in-engine cutscenes were very good.
They were very good. Very emotional at times.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I can appreciate this one and the slow walk and the animation and the battle uniforms and the way that Protag was like walking like he had to go pee. Perfect.
Uh,
It was
um
fantastic. I love that scene.
yeah, there's new mini games you can do that helps up with your stats and everything. Like you can actually go to the arcade now,
Hmm.
which is fun.
Hmm.
Um, you can
You can do the like net cafe and then go to
yes,
the computer, the shared
you
computer.
can also buy shady links from a dude in the club.
You can. You can also talk to the fortune teller lady and get bonuses when you go to Tartarus.
I like did that once and that was it.
Oh, I did it a lot for the like gold hands
Hmm.
whenever I had the quest from Elizabeth to do that.
They always just showed up randomly at enough that I never really had a problem with it.
I see.
So I was never like really like, oh man, I really need one of these because like usually like I would get once I would go through Tartarus like maybe like 1 to 2 to 3.
I would, but then I would also come away with a lot of money
Yeah, but then
because
you're
like,
also running out
hello,
of money a lot, so
I ran out of money all the time. I I finished this game so broke. I
I
think
had
I
a
had
million
like
yen.
20,000 because I did so much fusion at the end to get like all the like super powerful personas
Hmm.
and like all the special personas for the characters, like for the social links and all that jazz.
Yeah,
So yeah, I was a broke broke fella at the end. So
it do
like
be like that.
poor New Game Plus Pro Tag whenever I replay it because it will happen. Like he's gonna go in and have no money. And I'm like, I'm sorry, kid. You're gonna have to just
Suffer.
work part-time a lot because one, I need that trophy, and two, you need money. So
Yeah,
have fun, kid.
they really help you with the stat bonuses as well in this game because like you kind of just get stat bonuses
Uh,
for anything and everything. So it's not really hard
yeah.
to really
Like,
upgrade all of those to 6.
mhm. Yeah, so like in the previous versions, like you would get like points for answering things properly in class and all that's like that was normal. But in this, like if you cook with Akihiko or if you brush Koromaru or whatever, you get stat points too.
Yeah, because there are
So you're not
things
like sacrificing.
right. There are things you can do at night with all your teammates. Where like you said, like there's cooking. You can have them help
Read.
you with the planner up in the roof. You can read with them. You can watch TV with them. Um, and those will get you stat bonuses, but also eventually they will also give you a character bonus on that specific character. Like it'll basically
Hmm.
upgrade their special attack little bonus thing to make it,
Hmm.
just better overall, which is nice to do. And it's also just fun little character moments you get with all the characters.
It was so much fun. But yeah, it was really nice. Like it didn't feel like you were like wasting a night to like hang out with your C's teammate because you would still get some kind of stat bonus from it.
Yeah,
And then eventually you would get their ability from it, which was great
this is real
because
good.
you could get like basically you would get like a personality trait for them and then like an upgrade depending on the different things you did with them. But
Hmm.
again, you just get to like hang out with them and be friends as opposed to like just like living in the same dorm.
Yeah, I think you mentioned this as well as like one of the things this game does really well is it makes everyone kind of just feel like they are friends. Like it feels like this is a really good group of people who have
Mm-hmm.
come together. And I think the thing that really helps that is the fact that they gave all the dudes these kind of fake social links.
Yes. Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
which obviously because this is modeled after original P3, they don't have social links because they didn't. You get the social link with all the gals, but the guys were just kind of there just to be there essentially. And in this, they give you kind of like these little mini hangouts that you're able to do. They'll just like text you and be like, "Hey, you want to go do something?" It's like, "All right, cool." And like it'll be these little events that'll happen throughout the entirety of the game, and then they'll give you stat bonuses, they'll give you something of nature, but they'll also give you some good story, some good backstory as well for some of the characters, but also just like ways that you can see these characters in a new light that you wouldn't have necessarily seen in the original game. And eventually that leads you, once you finish it up, you're able to like get a new persona you can fuse and all that sort of stuff. But it's a really good way
Mm-hmm.
to just show off like, hey, these characters are very important in this game and everything. Obviously we can't do a whole lot to give them like an actual social link because like we already have a full list. And that
But
would
it's basically a
it,
social
it
link.
1000% is because like they give you items at the end of it of like because that's like a maxed out social link would do.
Yeah, they give you like an ultimate fusion at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You get plot with them. Akihiko's made me cry. And I was telling you I was so happy because they used part of the information that we got from like an art book that they didn't actually use in the original version. I was like, oh my God, they're talking about Akihiko's adoptive parents. But then it also kind of felt bad because it's like, oh, Akihiko's like, man, look at my parents. They're really nice. They're sending me stuff. And it's like, oh God, everybody in this room besides him has like parental issues or dead parents. I mean, like he has dead parents too. He was an orphan, but like obviously the people who adopted him very much care about him and vice versa. So like he's like, my parents are great and they care about me. And everyone's just like, oh, can we eat your fruit now? Oh no, I snorted. Yeah, his social link definitely made me cry with the medal or his what should I even call it? I'm gonna call it a social link. I don't care.
It's basically that. I mean, he also learns that there are chairs in his room, which was very nice. I'm glad
He
it's
did
taken him 20 years, but he's finally learned.
character development right
It's
there.
finally happened.
Um, Shinji's also made me cry
Mm-hmm.
when I went into his room afterwards. It was like,
But I think that
I was kind of sad
it
though.
was a good moment.
It was a good moment. I wish they like had told Akihiko, but they said they would do it when it was over. I was like, oh, he should know. Why y'all leaving him out? Shinji is gonna go back. When? Ken wants to beat you up.
Yeah, it's real funny.
It's real funny. And then Koromaru wants to get brushed, but also you get to learn about like how everybody loves Koromaru
Yeah,
and how he helps out everybody and helps out the local animals and people just want to feed him all the time.
everyone's like,
Just like
man,
I want
Koromaru
someone to do
rules,
it.
and I'm like, yeah, he does.
He does. And then like at the end, you find out like Koromaru wants to stick with you. Like he wants you to be his person.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh no, don't pick me. Pick anybody else but me. I know what happens to me. Pick Aegis.
And then Junpei is just you being bros with Junpei.
I love being bros with Junpei, honestly. It's great.
It's real good.
It's real good. So like those were such a welcome addition.
Yeah, I think it was a fantastic way to implement those characters back into the game better, kind of like because they are social links and portable, so like you do get some of that story like that in portable, but I think putting it back into this game
Mm-hmm.
works so much better because like you really get to see everyone kind of just like be friends with you, and it helps the overall group dynamic in a way that just wasn't there in the original version.
It is tragic to know that Akihiko initially cooks like a white woman, though.
He wants you to eat
'Cause
his unseasoned chicken.
his boiled chicken, his boiled egg, his boiled broccoli, and I'm just like, bro, Bro, you don't want to like, I don't know, do anything interesting with those? Only boil
Nope.
them?
I will make a
Nope.
lot of pancakes though.
He made so many pancakes and that was really fun. I was glad that I got to make pancakes with him.
He's like, we're gonna make 1,000 pancakes. And I'm like, all right, cool, let's go.
Yeah, but like everybody ate them, so like obviously it was enough pancakes for the friends. So many pancakes. But also he's like, it reminds me of like when I was with the orphanage and we got to hang out with Shinji and Miki and all that. And I was like, oh, it's nice that like that's his association of like, hey, I want to have a nice time with everybody where we can have a positive moment. And he's like, well, this is what we did at the orphanage, so I'm gonna do that. Even though he's not good at actually making the pancakes and you have to cook it for
It's
him.
true.
He's like, I'll do the batter, you do the cooking.
I'm like, all
Sure.
right. Sorry, you
I'm
don't know
down
how
for
to
that.
do pour the batter into a bowl, put some water in, stir. Here you go.
Well, he did that part. He was fine with doing that part, but it was the part where like he was talking about wiping down the pan and all that, and he's like, "Wouldn't it set on fire?"
Like,
It's like, "Oh
bruh.
boy, bruh." Akihiko is not. He's not a cooking man.
No.
This is why he wants to be bowls all the
He's
time.
a lifting man.
It's a lifting man. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed those new additions,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that they were able to like give you the feel of what you got in portable, even though they weren't dateable.
Yeah. Also, like, for the gals, you don't have to date all of them to get their max social link,
Such
which is nice.
such a welcome addition that they didn't have to date everybody and be like a scumbag cheater.
So you get to, like,
I'm so
you
happy.
can have your one romance, or like you don't have to romance any of them. You can just have them all be bros with you, and it's real fun.
Yeah, like I was best friends with Aegis, and I'm like, heck yes, this is how I want it to
Which is real
be.
wild. So the funny thing about that
Yeah.
was is like I did all of her social link. Um
hmm
and then there's the cutscene where you have to go find her for like the career evaluation, and
hmm
she's like talking like, oh, am I really going to be useful and everything? I'm like, bro, we've been over this. Like, we've gone through your entire social link already. Come on, this is over. We're done with this. It felt totally just way out of place there.
Oh my God. Oops.
Oops, magoops. But yeah, I was very surprised that like they don't force you into an Aegis romance route. It's like, no, you can just be buds. You get to
Yeah,
take
I was super
selfies at
happy
the
with
end, and
that.
it's very fun.
It's really good. It's really good. I was really happy that we could be bros with Aegis, and um I mean, with Fuka's, I didn't even get like the option to do romance. Like she immediately was like, "Yeah, we're friends." I'm like, "Yeah, we are. Hell yeah, happy about that."
Yeah,
And then Mitsuru, I did get her to like confess to me, but I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And he's like, "Oh, that's fine. Like you broke my heart, but I'm all right."
yeah. I think it just depends on like your choices at certain points, because there's like,
I think so.
because I know in Yukari's route there's like very
Like
obvious
romance
ones. Yeah,
flags.
and like if you just like, I definitely was just choosing like the non romance options, and she was like, all right, cool, whatever, and like it just never went that way.
Yeah, yeah, that's so I probably picked the wrong thing with Mitsuru at one point that like made her think that, but
Hmm.
then she was totally fine afterwards. I'm like, okay, cool.
So
Like, glad.
let's go motorcycle riding.
Yeah.
Vroom, vroom.
Um, vroom, vroom, vroom. I did not max all the social links though.
Which, I
Um,
mean, you're not going to on your first route or your first playthrough.
n- unless you're following a guide.
But even
But I
then,
was
I don't
not,
think you're going
so
to do it on your first playthrough.
you can, but it's very hard.
Yeah.
The timing on it is really challenging, and I don't know that you would be able to do all the like side stuff with the new
Right.
like with the seas
So it's not
things.
really worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth it. But we got voiced baby.
Bebe, yes. I got to
I was
make
so
Bebe
happy.
go. I'll be back.
It's so funny.
It's really good.
That made me happy.
Uh, it's too
So
good.
that was great. I love that the social links are all voiced now.
Yeah, I think this said in here somewhere. Yeah, this game has the most spoken dialogue of any Persona game,
Wow.
which makes
That's
sense because
impressive.
considering all like you said, all the social link stuff is voiced, all those new events are voiced.
Hmm.
There's very little in the fact of like non-voice dialogue.
Yeah. And I mean, most of it's from Protag, which they had Alex Lee, so they could have had him say things if they wanted to.
No, he just says
But
other things with other characters.
I would say he was also busy voicing like so many other characters because he's Protag, he's Pharaohs, he's Ryuji, he's Nick's avatar, which like it's the same thing that Yuri Lowenthal did when he was
Yeah.
Protag, but like he has his hands full. And watching him play some of this was hilarious. He's streaming more on Thursday with Junpei's voice actor. Is like, oh, I'm gonna have to watch that after my stream
Good.
because that sounds like it's gonna be chaotic and great.
um. Yeah, I think like we kind of mentioned earlier, like all like the new cutscenes as well really work. Um,
Hmm.
they really amplify a lot of like the more emotionally charged scenes in the game as well.
October 4th, man.
And I think they just there's a really good just direction and cinematography when it comes to those cutscenes as
Hmm.
well that really just make things work even better than the original games did,
Hmm.
which was just just static shot. Here's the characters animating and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really know if there's a whole lot to say that's like really negative about this game of like things that they changed or just remade from the original. It's just like because I think they
I can't think of any negatives.
yeah, I think the only thing right now is just like they don't have the answer, which there's like we said earlier, the rumor that potentially that will be a DLC that they're gonna make, but that has not been
Hmm.
confirmed or anything. So who's to say? Um, I doubt they would do the FMC route because that would still
There'd be so much
it'd be a
work to do
lot to
that.
do. I mean, it'd be cool and everything to do, but like you said, it'd be a lot of work and all that sort of stuff.
Because I mean, you'd have to rewrite so many of the social links and like
Yeah,
voice all the new social links and put in new character art for some characters and um redo the portable music.
yeah, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. So I
Um,
don't expect it. It would be nice, but I don't expect it.
but yeah, I think getting the answer would be fun. Getting
Hmm.
because that's only playable in Fez, and like it does have some important story stuff with regards to this game and everything. But like making that more accessible, more playable, would be fun to just be able to go through that and not have to like tear your hair out.
Yeah, because anybody who has listened to me for like more than 5 minutes knows like Persona 3 is legit one of my favorite games of all time. Like in the top five, easily clears one of my top games. I have played the answer once because it is a miserable experience as it is right now. So if they make it less miserable, then I would be very happy to play it again. That says a lot, I think.
And I think with like all the gameplay improvements and everything, like
Oh
it'd
yeah.
have to be better.
Yeah, yeah. I mean it would definitely have to be better. There's no way it wouldn't be better.
I think
I mean it was really good.
yeah. I think
The gameplay improvements, I mean.
I think a bonus DLC that they should make is the Elizabeth story of her trying to find a way to free Protag from his seal. That was the
Hinted at in
yeah,
Arena.
the story that's hinted at in Arena. Because I've always thought
Honestly,
that was like real interesting.
I agree. And if I were given the choice of like, do I get Elizabeth DLC doing that or do I get FMC, I would probably pick the Elizabeth DLC just because it's new content.
Hmm.
And I want to know what she's trying to do there. And she has access to the Fool. She can swap personas and everything.
Hmm.
So like she could be, I mean, she is really powerful. I tried to fight her in this game as like the ultimate boss is like, nope, never mind. Never mind. We're good. Goodbye, lady. Have fun being stupidly overpowered.
That was the one quest I did not do.
Yeah, it's not worth it. I was going to mention something. What was I going to mention? Oh, they took out the transphobia.
Yeah, I mean that is nice. I feel like it's somewhat of a double edged sword because like on the one hand, yes, it is great that they took out transphobia. On the other hand, they are also eliminating a transgender character.
Yes, they are.
Which like I think you could easily just take out the transphobia and keep that character.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing saying she's not.
But there's nothing saying that
Like,
she is.
no, you're right, you're right.
So
But um I feel like it's more of a positive for it to be gone. And I do appreciate they made her like a weirdo conspiracy theorist. Um, but yeah, I also don't trust this team much to do
yeah,
like
100%.
positive representation of a trans woman. So I would rather them do it this way than like try and it up
Mm-hmm.
because like they don't have a good track record.
No, that's fair.
Um, let's look at Catherine and Catherine Full Body.
Ooh, fadoofa.
Which we don't have Ashino, so I guess maybe that helps. But um, I understand the viewpoint of like, it sucks we lost a trans character in here, but like I think this is the safer option with this team.
Yeah.
And oh God, Ichiban just fell off the couch. Just rolled straight off.
Bloop.
Um, but I am glad that the transphobic joke is gone, and that made me feel a lot better at least.
Yeah, I was honestly kind of surprised that they took it out.
Yeah, and in both versions, apparently it's gone in the Japanese version too.
Yeah.
Yay! Progress!
Only took you
Ish.
almost 20 years.
Woo! Oh boy.
Ooh boy.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean I really don't have any negatives for this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like they did such a good job with this remake, and like you can tell that the team loved Persona 3, that they were able to like do something like this.
Yeah.
Because I mean it very much shows how much love went into this remake. And Lotus Juice was like super jazzed about it too.
As he should
He
be.
wants he's like talking on Twitter about how he's had like a 3-page essay he wrote about it that he wants to talk about on Instagram Live in English. I was like, I would show up for that.
Thanks, Lotus
Like,
Juice.
why is Lotus Juice writing essays?
He's vibing.
I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. He's somebody who also very much cares for this franchise and very much cares for this particular game. So like it's nice to see that he's like, I beat the game and I did all the music for all this stuff and and I'm a big part of Persona franchise. Why don't you just write an essay and then talk about it on Instagram
As you do.
in English particularly because I want people to know it in English. I'm like, okay, all right. I always forget that he like lived in Jersey for so long.
Jersey Juice.
Jersey juice.
I think it would be interesting to see what they do next.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they think they want to remake anything else. Like I don't think they will remake Persona 4. I think
I think 2 is more likely.
I think Golden's in a fine spot. 2 would be interesting for sure. But that would also
I would
mean that Atlas has to acknowledge that those games exist.
They would, but I mean imagine if we got like the 2 duology remade in a like updated version like this.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean it would be a way for people to actually play them because they're not as accessible for people to play.
Yeah. The only thing I would say is that like if you're going to do the 2 duology, you need to remake 1 as well. Because 1 is very integral to Eternal Punishment.
Nahone.
So.
All right, well, Atlas, get on your remakes of 1 and 2. Have fun.
Or just if you really want to be cheap,
You could just make 6.
re-release those PSP remakes they did.
They could do that. They could do that.
Yeah. That is an option. But yeah, Persona 3 Reload, it is good.
It is very good.
I am
I am in love.
I'm happy this game has a new life.
Me too.
So
I don't
there's
know why I said it like that,
me
but I'm
too.
I'm very happy about it. Like I love this game so much, and it means so much to me. And seeing it like being all pretty and all the new story bits and making me cry a lot, and Shinji petting Koromaru on October 4th, and the hand grab.
Plus, you can just pet Koromaru whenever.
You can do that, which is great. Obviously, a big upgrade there that you can just pet Koromaru whenever.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you can just ask Takaya why he doesn't wear a shirt.
Oh yeah, there's also like the Takaya stuff. We forgot to mention. Like, there's a whole thing where you just like you have these little chit chats with him.
Mm-hmm. I wish I'd download Jin, but
He's too busy being online.
he's chronically
Mm-hmm.
online. But I am glad that we got more with Takaya, and I'm glad that they implemented this stuff with Chidori, where you can make her survive if you do the right actions.
Yeah.
That was good, even though it takes a day in January of your social link stuff.
But
I'd rather her survive and Junpei be happy.
yes. But yeah, that is Persona 3 Reload.
It rules,
It is Persona 3, but fancier.
and a lot better to play.
Yes. But that's going to do it for us this week. So if you'd like more from us, head on over to seasonalanimecheckup.com or sac.cool where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like Jared and Now Watch. You can also find columns and reviews on the site as well. If you'd like more from Ann Ladium, go to annladium.com. She's got columns and reviews. You can follow us on Twitter and TikTok at Anime Checkup. You can follow us on Blue Sky at seasonalanimecheckup.com. You can buy our books, One Shiny Moment, a critical analysis of Love, Life, Sunshine, Hot Tubs, and Pac-Man on Amazon.com. And you can join us on Patreon, patreon.com/SACOVA. Buy us a slice of pizza, get access to unedited versions of the podcast early, monthly exclusive Patreon podcasts, such as, we did our February one. It is out now. You can listen to us talk about the Hideo Kojima documentary.
Yep.
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 I think that is well worth your time and money to listen to that.
I agree.
And there's also a whole wealth and host of bonus content on there as well.
Yay.
Next week we'll discuss something else. I don't know.
Who knows?